April 12th, 1926, near Rockport, Massachusetts. The Beacon Island Lighthouse, an essential navigational aid, has just gone out. Is this a simple electrical issue, or are the players answering the Call of Cthulhu? Join Mike, Fitz, Wegs and I as we encounter cosmic horror. Welcome to the podcast. Joining me today to play the Call of Cthulhu, as always, are the brains.
Oh God, it's me, Wegs.
The looks.
Oh yes, it's me, Mike.
And the charisma.
And it's me, Fitz. Good evening.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us again. Today we are playing a role-playing favourite, Call of Cthulhu. We've actually never played before, but it's brought to us today by Chaosium Games. And we're playing a scenario called the Lightless Beacon. You guys, any experience with the world of Lovecraft?
I've been referred to as the Lightless Beacon before, if that's what you mean.
I find Cthulhu truly terrifying. The whole that was scary.
That was
serendipitous.
Something genuinely went bump in the night, everybody.
Yes, a big Cthulhu mythos fan. I remember once I was stuck out at a work site and I had hours to fill in, so I downloaded the Kindle app and spent hours and hours reading Lovecraft works. So, big fan.
And I love the board games. I played Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror, Elder Signs, all of those. So, yeah.
Arkham Horror 2nd Edition is like my genuine favourite board game of all time.
I thought you were going to correct me and say it's not a game.
No, it's
That's
a
actually
lifestyle.
the Batman
It's
universe.
actually a lifestyle. I think you'll find it's the asylum. Right. So today, this adventure is called the Lightless Beacon. There's something to do with a lighthouse in it. I think you've probably figured that out already. So let me set you up. It is April the 12th, 1926, 8:15 p.m. The sun is slowly setting. The Beacon Island Lighthouse off the shore of Folly Point in Massachusetts has just ceased to cast its light over the region. You are on board the SX. See, this is a tongue twister. It's deliberately set up like this. It's the SS Essex County. So it's a small ship. It's carrying mixed light cargo and passengers. You're on board the ship. You've got a tiny little cramped cabin. You've been on it for about 2 days now. The boat's going from New York up to Rockport. You boarded it, all of you, in New York, and it's only about a 2-day journey, but it's coming close to the end. You've been within sight of this lighthouse when it's just blinked out. The decks are crusted with salt spray. There's the smell of wet sea in the air. You come to know some of the crew on board the ship, but it's not. This isn't the Titanic. It's a very small little vessel. Why don't you, Fitz? Why don't you start and tell us about yourself and how you end up getting here?
My name is Carter Dixon. Whilst I am normally an undercover bureau agent, at this point in time I'm being straight sent up on this boat. That's all I'm willing to disclose so far. I have been stationed here for quite a while. Why is not really of any importance to you. If you think of your typical, stereotypical bureau-style agent of the 1920s, I'm a big, hulking mass of a man. Criminal justice and policing is in my blood. I come from a long line of bureau agents, and quite frankly, I'm an intimidating person to stand next to.
And you're in the classic G-Man get-up, the trench coat and...
G-Man get-up, mustache, slick hair, quite dapper, bit of a broken nose look, but I'll make it work.
Excellent. And also on board, Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike. Today, though, I'm going to be Nautical John. Nautical John is incredibly handsome, and he works at Boston University as a lecturer. Go Terriers.
Is it fair to say then that Nautical John has quite the thick Massachusetts accent?
More like Taxachusetts.
Bit of a regional joke there that we haven't bought into.
But Nautical John is excited to uncover some of the mysteries. Loves all things to do with the ocean, even though you're going to discover he's terrified of a few things. But he's renowned for traveling the world with his father, or traveling the Americas. His father is Jonathan J. John, and I'm Junior.
Jonathan J. John Jr.
He's currently in the South Americas, while I'm here ready to explore.
You know my first question is going to be, what does the J stand for?
Junior.
Jonathan Jr. John Jr. Yeah, seems reasonable. And Wegs.
Yes, I will be playing Sir Reginald III, Viscount of Royal Canadian Lentil Export Company and 15th Baron Saskatchewan, aka Reggie Sasquatch. He's 293rd in line to the British throne, developed a passion for antiquing. His royal duties up until recently included cleaning out old castles, lots of castles in Canada, obviously, that needed tidying up and cleaning out. Developed a real passion for collecting antiques and dealing and importing and exporting. Fell off the wagon a little bit and veered into the world of underground antiquing, dangerous racket that it is. Started dealing in things I perhaps shouldn't have been dealing in, forbidden artifacts, if you will, forbidden antiques. But I'm on the straight and narrow now after some things went awry, turning myself into the good royal man that I'd always hoped I would become.
So a pronounced Canadian accent we can expect?
Well, the thing is, because I'm a royal Canadian, my voice, it really sounds like Australian, like an Australian middle-aged bloke. Just
An amazing coincidence.
an incredible coincidence, if
Fantastic.
you will. Yeah, it's a very niche accent. I will try my best. One of my former partners in crime, Cassidy, he's also gone on the straight and narrow. It's led me to make some inquiries and uncover some mysteries.
I'm sure more of that will come up. Or will it? No, it will. I don't know how familiar you guys are with the east coast of the United States and 1920s small ship travel. You would have boarded this boat, Long Island Sound, which is like the tip of New York. And the boat came up through the Cape Cod Canal. It takes about 2 days. It's 250 miles or so. This is like a very small mixed cargo and passenger boat. So this isn't going out of sight of shore for most of this journey, but it is the quickest way to get there. The Cape, it's 1926 now, 10 years before the Cape Cod Canal opened, which cuts through the land, shortened the journey a lot. And this boat is a tiny, cramped cabin where you're bunking. It's super bitter coffee every morning. It's the constant smell of rust, the clunking of the engine. When we start, we come to Nautical John standing on deck. It's about 10 degrees centigrade. There's diesel and oil and rust smell in the air. The salt spray is crashing against you. And like I say, in the distance, you'll be able to see the Beacon Island Lighthouse, which is, it's the end of your journey is very close. You'd be there by, 2 or 3 hours from now.
I can barely see it because I'm over the edge of the boat, hurling my guts up into the water. Despite being a marine biologist, I'm not having fun out on the waves. And I am attracting many fish to the side of our boat currently. I'm not feeling too good.
So as you're throwing up over the side of the boat there, up comes the first mate. And the first mate he looks about 15 years old, like he's not shaving. This is, you met him a couple of days ago. You know him, it's Robbie. Robbie Wild is the first mate. And he comes up to you and he's like, "You okay, mister? You seem, most people stop getting seasick after 8 to 12 hours. You okay?
I'm not doing too well, Robbie, my lad.
Aren't you some kind of fish scientist?"
You're right, Robbie, I am. And I'm actually working on a paper at the moment. You've probably read some of my work in the past.
Well, I don't get to read much.
Don't take it personal,
But
mister.
tell me more.
Well, Robbie, actually, I'm quite versed in all things oceanic. It would surprise you to learn that there are probably dozens of fish in the tens that exist within the ocean.
I reckon I've caught more than 10 fish in a single trip.
Well, Robbie, you probably caught one that I've named. Those names aren't coming to mind, but Robbie, if you could just give me a minute.
I called one Steve once. Does that count?
I'll allow it. Now, Robbie, you probably have recognised how strikingly handsome I am.
He said, "Well, mister, I don't like to say it because it's a little bit strange, but you sure are a handsome fella."
You're right, but I'd be even more handsome with a bit of coffee in my hand, Robbie, if you could do me a favour, mate.
It's like, "That's okay. I'll go speak to the captain. He's just opened a new pot up on the bridge." And Robbie toodles off. And on his way past, where would he find you? Fitz, where would he find you as he's walking back at you?
Probably find me standing towards the front of the ship. I'm very comfortable on this boat. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm comfortable on the sea. I'm uncomfortable on this boat. I don't plan to be out at the sea. He may even catch a glimpse of the tattoos on my knuckles that indicate to the cabin boy that hold fast and maybe an ex-Navy man. Bit of a sign to him that I'm not going to be throwing up over the side like some young dandy fish guy. But he'll find me staring intently towards our destination, looking for the lighthouse.
Well, standing up next to you, near the railing, is none other than the captain. And I'm sure the captain and you would have bonded a little bit over this. Captain Clarence Porter. He's, as you've established over your friendship with him in the last few days, he's a great war veteran. He's got a decent scar down the side of his cheek. He's got a white captain's hat on, which is beaten up. It's ragged and worn. It's clearly been stepped on. And he's got this magnificent mustache, much like yourself. He's in sort of his late 30s, but he's been aged, like so many men who came back from the Great War. He's there staring, and he's sipping slowly from a tin cup of coffee. Stares out. And is this like a comfortable silence between the two of you? Or?
It is, but being a federal agent, as an opportunity, given my time here is to sort of suss out any illegal activities along the coast, I start to use a bit of my skill, a bit of my interrogation, if you will, eliciting information, and after bonding over ships and war stories and Navy, I maybe ask him a few questions about, have you seen any other boats, maybe? Any other people, anything odd up and down here? You must have seen some things, Captain.
Well, I reckon I have seen some things. It says, I once saw a fish making love to a mermaid. I once saw a mermaid making love to an anchor chain. I once saw an anchor chain hanging an anchor.
Drink a lot, Captain? Is that coffee in that cup?
Only on days that end in the wine. So the captain's, he's probably pretty reserved with you being a G-man. The bureau's in its infancy and not the most well-known. He's like, they tell me you're one of Hoover's boys. Is that right?
I'll fluff over that sort of answer in a little bit, but quite frankly, I am.
I don't have much time for G-men on my boat. Because we don't partake of any of the smuggling or any of the drinking, obviously. Prohibition's very serious business, but all due respect to you and yours, the only reason I tolerate you on my boat is because I see you're a Navy man.
Oh, I am. I let him know I was one of the men on the USS Jacob Jones, which was sunk with most hands towards the end of the war.
Oh, my condolences with you. He's had a cousin that was on the Jacob Jones, whose name escapes me at the moment. If you're about to cross-examine me, see you moving pieces
Well, my
of paper
father,
there.
Jonathan J. John Jr., was on the Jacob Jones.
Jonathan J. John Jr. Yes, yeah.
He was a senior.
Senior. Esquire.
Are you wearing a G-Man suit on the boat?
Yeah.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm not bothered by any of this.
Fully dressed up.
I have sea legs. I'm very comfortable in and around this water area, but I just don't like this particular area. Quite frankly, since I've been stationed here, it gives me the creeps.
He says, yeah, well, it takes special kind of man to make their way up here around Rockport and Innsmouth. It's not country for God-fearing folk. Tend to spend as little time there as possible.
Is it normal, Captain, for the lighthouse to go out?
Well, the thing about lighthouses is they only work when they're lit.
I thought you were going to say at night.
It's 2:15 in the afternoon. What the goddamn hell do you think? No, look, I'm sure there's just sometimes they gotta change the circuit or flick the bulb. I don't truck much with this electricity stuff, but we'll see. I'm sorry that I'm making everyone sound like the 1920s was the 1870s, but we've got no frame of reference. Just flow with it. You're continuing a conversation now on the bridge, and we cut down to inside in the very small, cramped sort of mess room inside where Arthur Beasley, the newspaperman, is in there sitting with Reggie. So what's their conversation going to sound like? Arthur's a bit, Arthur's a classic press card in the hat newspaper man. He's chain smoking his cigars. He's 45. He's like solid build. So yeah, what would they be talking about? What are they?
They're talking antiques. They're talking like value of things. They're both seated in the mess room, and the smoke level is like down past below their shoulders because I'm also chain smoking. I suffer a touch of the nervous disposition. And so my doctor has recommended 1 packet of cigarettes per day, just to take the edge off.
Is it menthols?
No, menthol's it's a lady's choice, the menthol cigarettes. So I prefer the unfiltered, harvested tobacco straight out of the ground, dirt still on it, wrap it in some old newspaper and just smoke it that way, as harsh as it comes. Really leaves a tickle in the back of the throat. So we're getting on like a house on fire. I know how to play these wealthy sorts.
Yeah, so in the cabin, in the mess room as well, there's Willard Davies sat over in the corner, and Willard and you, I think, had some stern words the other day. Willard's quite a flamboyant and eccentric artist, but I think he made some remarks to you about, that you're only interested in the old. You weren't interested in modern stuff. It was a bit scathing of your interest in the past. Is that?
Yeah, look, I don't get on with these sort of flamboyant types. I'm a hardened traditionalist, a hardened conservative man through and through, and I won't take any of this guff from anybody who dares think of any progressive ideas. None of that.
Well, Willard's got the John Waters mustache.
A thin mustache,
A very,
pencil thin. How? Sir, I'll not be seen talking to you in public.
Well, that's obviously why he's sat over in the corner at the moment,
Yes,
just smoking
obviously.
from his cigarette with a holder and
A holder?
and resolutely ignoring you.
No, unless you've got pale brown stains on your fingers, I'm not interested. Thank you.
And what? So your conservative views must have led you to a strong opinion as well of Dorothea Hollingsworth, she's in her cabin at the moment. You don't know where she is,
goodness.
but she's obviously quite forthright, very brassy. She's a stenographer. She's got a job.
I'm not sure I'm
Sorry,
comfortable
you
with
said
this.
there's a woman who works.
There's a woman who has a job. I know it's not a housewife or a teacher. She's
Look, I'm as progressive as the next fellow, and I support a woman having an opinion and having a job and these sorts of things. It just challenges me on a personal level. That's all.
So sure enough, you're standing out, and you've seen as you're standing out the front there, Carter, the lighthouse has flicked off like a switch has gone, and all of a sudden the noise of the waves becomes really oppressive to you, and you're suddenly aware of how dark the ocean is, and just as the sun's beginning to set, how dark the horizon's getting. After probably another 8 or 10 minutes, sunset's over, and the new moon is rising, and it's pitch black. It's a bomber's moon. There's nothing to see. There's this like gentle rocking of the boat, for the size of the boat, and there's the creaking of hatches going on behind you. But apart from that, you just feel that the noise of the ocean is like it's getting louder every second as the darkness closes. John, has this got through to you? Are you too busy puking?
My sanity's broken. I'll throw myself off the boat. I've drowned.
You've been eaten by a giant squid.
And I wish you both the best with the mystery.
All right, and I presume inside the cabin, you're probably completely oblivious to this. Your visibility is pretty limited,
Yes.
Reggie. With
all I can see is the edges of the room as the smoke slowly rises and falls with the tide to maintain equilibrium. Yeah, so it's not too bad in here. And I'm very passionate about my business anyway, so...
yeah.
And I'm taking deep breaths to settle myself because no one's really watching me at the moment. I don't think they are. So I'm like trying to psych myself up of like, you've got this.
Hold it together, man.
Keep it together, Nautical John.
The Captain Porter, he's obviously gone back. Once the light has clicked off, he's gone back and he's up in the cabin doing captainy things, doing steering, whatever it is, piloting the boat, I suppose. All of a sudden, you're thrown forward against the railing in front of the boat. You look like you're doing the Titanic. Wegs inside the cabin there. Reggie's like bang, almost to the side, almost falls to the floor. And there's this almighty loud din like a massive car crash, and this big reaching sound. And the next thing you hear is the engine note go from this to this screaming as you hear bits of metal being sheared off as the propeller's tearing itself to pieces. What? How's you managed to hold on to the railing there, John? We're going to roll you up with you one.
This is so scary.
He's fine.
He's okay. So I have a scar on my left calf. It's a jellyfish scar, but I don't tell anyone that. I say that it's a harpoon scar from my time in the South Americas, from a local Incan tribe. But I'm rubbing that scar to try and center myself and remind myself of how tough I am because I survived this savage assault that I've told people about. So I'm trying to keep it together. But now I hop up, I stand up tall because I think someone may be watching me. I'm now going to command myself about the boat and walk a lap to try and find out what's happening.
Within seconds of this happening, you start hearing the clang, 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 clang of a bell being thrown back and forth, and you can see Robbie up there on the sort of forebridge just throwing the manual striker back and forth, making this, and he's yelling, abandon ship, abandon ship. You can see he's like quite worked up, and you can still see Captain Porter there. He's still got his cigar clamped in his mouth, still like staring out at the horizon, wrestling with the wheel. But you can clearly hear the motor is shredding itself to pieces. And within a few seconds, the motor noise coughs and dies. And the waves are beginning to pick up a little bit. You know, along the side here, you can see that the lifeboats are like little wooden rowboats. They're not the modern contraptions we're used to. They're tiny wooden rowboats. So there's 3 down the side here. Robbie's shooing you now away from the railing. He's like, Mr. Dixon, gotta get you to the lifeboat. Get in the lifeboat. And he's like, John, Mr. John, you just lifeboat, please. So he's trying to shoo you over towards it, and the boat is now beginning to pitch. It's moved sidelong to the waves. It's beginning to pitch, and down below you can hear the giant crates of the cargo hold starting to move back and forth, like amplifying the rocking motion of the boat. What are you guys going to do? I'll come to you in a sec, Wegs, because you're safely sequestered.
I'm asking Robbie the water temperature. I expect this to be Caribbean levels of warmth out here
Famous
in
New York.
New York.
Boston's famous for its tropical waters.
Yeah.
Massachusetts water, sir. We're going to be -6, -7. You last 3 minutes in those waters.
Robbie, what have you done to me?
Sir, the rocks just came out of nowhere. These aren't on our charts. I'm not sure. The captain's trying to fix it, sir, but we're in big trouble.
I know how important I am to myself, so I clamber towards, holding the rail as I go to get towards the lifeboats, but I don't want to commit to hopping in because I still feel like I stand no chance in the lifeboat. But if we are getting in, I need to be first. So whilst I'm there and I'm holding onto the side rail, I'm patting myself down and making sure I have all of my bits and pieces, and I'm just taking some deep breaths.
All right, very good. And Carter, you're right near the front of the boat, so the lifeboats are just midway along the side there. You're pretty close.
I am pretty close.
You can see John now.
I can see John, and I can see he's scrambling towards the lifeboats, however badly. At the end of the day, though, I'm an ex-Navy man, but I am currently a bureau agent of this great nation, and I'm effectively a policeman, and my concern is not also for myself, but for the others. And I have a look to see, do I have the ability or do I have the time to get down to the cabin, because I know there's people down there, to help them get out and get to the
Sure, run in there.
So I run down there.
So you make your way in, and instantly you're greeted. As soon as you open the hatch, there's this big screech of metal, and the rusted hinges, bits of paint are flecking off, and this cloud of smoke comes out to you. And instantly, your first thought is fire.
Yeah.
So this torrent of smoke pours out as soon as you open the hatch, and you stand there coughing and spluttering for a second, and then you realise it's the smoking lounge.
Oh, right.
It was the mess room until recently.
Yeah.
I've converted it into my personal smoking lounge.
I start screaming at everyone to get out and get to the lifeboats.
Obviously, there's been the big bump, but Carter's come running in now, screaming. Wegs, are you?
So, all right. They're choppy waters. Let's just calm down. Hey, have you thought about having a cigarette? It really takes the edge off. So we light up a smoke and relax. And then after a short time, I realize, oh no, we've actually hit some rocks. We're in danger. We need to go. So I follow your lead, and you're saying, hey, we got to get out.
Beasley, the newspaper man, it's like, chaps is in the cabins. What about Miss Hollingsworth? Miss Hollingsworth.
I'll
Mr.
go.
Davies. I think we should probably alert them. Who knows what fate has befallen them in their cabin?
I take this on board again. A dame in distress. This is where I shine. I go straight to the cabin, burst it open. Let's get out of here.
Not even a knock.
Not even a knock.
And so you throw the door open, and you see Dorothea there facing the tiny little mirror she's got on the washstand in her room, and she's just putting the final pins in her like elaborate hair, and she's like, "Hey, what's the big idea? Just busting in here. It's like there's a lady dressing."
Listen, doll. I don't know how 90s 20 bureau.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Nobody else does either.
Yeah. No time for that. Let's get out of here.
She's like, "Okay, hold your horses. There's a few things I gotta get before we go." She's like, "Listen, I'm not gonna give up. I gotta make my new life. I gotta take these things with me. I can't lose my entire possessions. So just steady on there. Hold your horses." And so she's now like taking a few minutes to collect things. So are you just like taking your cabin baggage when the plane crashes?
I'm like, listen.
It's my industrial strength hair dryer.
Not in here, mister. This is a Mercedes.
I'm basically just grabbing a coat and pretty much forcing her out the door.
Okay. And directly
In
opposite
front of me.
that cabin in the narrow little hallway there is Mr. Davies' cabin, and you haven't heard anything from there.
As I'm pushing her out into the hallway with her coat and pushing her towards Reggie and the people who are making their way out, I, as I did with her, give her his door a bit of a kick.
The door only opens like a quarter or a third of the way and then bounces back like it's hit something soft.
I forgot the name of the man I'm trying to save.
Mr. Davies, Willard Davies.
I'm like, Willard, Mr. Davies.
All right, and there's no response, so the door remains, just slightly ajar.
I might even call upon Reggie. Reggie, help me with the door.
All right, G-Man, come on, let's do this.
We're pushing.
Okay, so you're both pushing?
Yeah.
So...
Yep. I take the cigarette out of my mouth and I put it between my fingers, and there is already 3 cigarettes in there. All right, come on. 1, 2, 3, heave ho.
Okay, so you push the door open and you feel the unmistakable slow push of a door as this body's getting compressed behind it. And which one are you sticking your head around the door?
Sounds like a job for G-Man.
I will. I'll have a look.
So you stick your head around the door and you see Willard lying on the ground, completely sprawled out, and there's this beginning to slosh puddle of blood there, and you can see a head wound and a edge of the bunk where he's fallen over and caught his head as they've obviously hit the boat. And you're looking at him; it doesn't look great. You can go check him out if you want, or you can give him up for dead.
I think I've come this far. I think I might try and check him out and see if he's okay. He might just be unconscious.
You might have valuables.
So do me a first aid roll. So you'll see on your character sheet there, or a medicine roll, whichever's higher. I'm guessing first aid.
My first aid is 30, and my medicine is 1%. So I might go first aid.
So Call of Cthulhu is a D100 roll under system. So what he's going to do is roll the D100, and he needs to get under 30 to succeed. And the more you get under it, if you go under by half, there's greater degrees of success. Roll them for me.
45.
So you failed.
I failed.
Okay, so looking down at Willard, you've seen wounds before. You've seen people who are badly injured before. And as far as you can tell, this guy's a goner. One of his eyes is wide open and one's shut. The pupils are blown out. You can't tell anything about what you could do to fix it. You can just tell you don't think he's worth saving.
I take one of the cigarettes out from between my fingers and go, put this in his mouth and see what happens. And I'm shocked when there is no.
I'm going to start sticking objects in the dead man's mouth, sort of thing. I think.
Why is Willard winking at us?
He knows something we don't.
Given that information, I have a quick scan of the room to see if there's anything else obvious. It looks to me as if he's
No, it's pretty much the same as your cabin. It's a tiny little, space with a bunk, and he's got a sea chest at the foot of his bed, which he brought on board with him, but nothing else.
Well, I think he's a goner, and I just say, Reggie, he's gone. And I start pushing back out.
So the boat by this stage is beginning to noticeably start taking on more of a list. So you get back outside of the cabin. You can see Nautical John is still white knuckling onto this railing right there. And
useless marine biologist.
And Robbie's like, "Get in the boats! It's time to go! Get in the boats!" And just as he's saying this, as the ship tilts, you see this crate snap free of its moorings and go sailing towards, and as it goes, collects Mr. Beasley and just flings him into the ocean. And he's gone out of even the range. You don't even hear a splash.
Mr. Beasley.
I say, he just agreed that I would be in his last will and testament. You all heard it. You all heard it.
His fabulous bureau. He left it to me.
And softly to myself, I'm just saying, he'll be fine. He's swimming.
He's a fish. He can swim.
The water's warm. He'll be fine.
So, and Dorothy is like, what do you clowns always, standing and gandering at? Get in the damn boat! And she's taken her shoes off and is carrying them in her hand, and she climbs up onto the railing and makes the short step into the still hanging lifeboat. And who's climbing in? Anyone?
Well, the boat sort of rocked, which somehow meant that she could get in before me, and I've panicked, even just with one person getting onto the boat before me. So now I'm clambering my way in to be second.
What do you reckon? You want to go after you, G-Man?
I start calling out to the captain. Captain, let's get out of here. The boat's gone.
The captain's like, "God damn it, you're a Navy man. You know the rules. Get on the boat." It's like, "I'm here. I'll keep this one. You go."
And I'm calling out, "He'll be fine."
I'm happy to get on as long as I'm making sure everybody else is getting on first. And who's going to be lowering the boat?
It's not automatic. I mean, it's not. There's no sensors set up. It's not an electric
I
system.
presume the AI chat GPT on board will take care of that.
What was his name?
No, I mean,
Cabin Boy Willie?
Yeah, really, I want you to. Your responsibility is you. Are you climbing on board or not?
The ultimate goal is to get on board, but I am trying to assist others with.
So, Wegs, you.
I think awfully decent of you, G-Man. I'll get on.
All right, Mr. Dixon, get in the boat. Get in the boat, damn it, sir. So I'm sorry for swearing at you, but please get in the boat.
I jump in the boat.
and you hear as he undoes the ratchet winch and lowers the boat, which all splashes down into this like impossibly black water, and instantly you get the spray in, and the lifeboat's immediately being banged into the hull of the main boat, and you can see right nearby there's this like nearby almost like shallow sand, almost occasionally it's cresting above the water, and there's this like twisted metal something standing up towards the front of the boat. You can't really tell what it is from where you are, but I'm getting you all to do a combined roll for me. It's a know and spot hidden. So you're going to roll 1d100 and you're going to compare it against both know and spot hidden. One roll, compare it against 2 stats.
Oof.
So I'll go around in order. Wegs, how have you gone? You passed anything?
Not well. I've rolled the 93.
Cool. So you failed both of those.
I sure
Fitz?
have.
I've rolled an 18, which gives me a hard pass on my spot hidden. Yeah, I've passed both with a hard.
You know then, having seen this, well, firstly you spot that you can see that there's no identifying marks on the metal. There's just this twisted piece of wreckage sticking up. But you can see already that the section is clearly a section of boat. There's no barnacles on the hull, it's not pitted and rusted. It looks to you like this is something that's new. And your knowledge component of it is, having done your study and your research and being so focused on maritime traffic in this area, you know that there hasn't been a shipwreck here for quite some time. You're putting together in your head that this you can't picture how this is from a recent shipwreck. This rowboat is beginning to sort of pitch into the hull and it's bashing against it continually. Is someone going to take the oars and row away, or are you going to let it be crushed to matchsticks?
I, for one, would not like to go the way of Jack from Titanic. I grab the oars and I start trying to get this little rowboat.
That'd be fresh in our minds too.
Yeah.
Is that
Because the
1912?
film came out then.
16. Yeah.
Robbie the cabin boy didn't jump down.
Cabin boy, he's the first mate. How dare you?
That's a
So
staggering
Robbie,
emotion.
at the very moment you think this, you see Robbie far above you lean over the railing, because the boat's now leaning away from you, so the railing's higher than it's ever been. And he says, "You gotta go to Beacon Island," and he points, and you can just vaguely see the outline of this. And you're not that far from the shore, but it's a perilous crossing in this weather. The seas are beginning to pick up, and Beacon Island's not far away. So the nose of the boat, you start pointing it around their Wegs, and you start rowing. What's your rowboat experience like?
I'm an avid rowboatman. Lots of experience as a young boy growing up in the squads.
I'm sure that will be borne out by your pilot boat skill.
Yes, unfortunately, my enthusiasm greatly outweighs my actual natural ability. I'm looking to roll under a 21.
Look, if you can convince me that this is a matter of brute force rather than of piloting skill, I'll let you roll your strength instead. But
I mean, is this a rowboat that we have an oar each?
It is.
So you're really good, he's really bad. We go in circles.
We just go in circles.
as long as you roll about the same. Or else,
Yeah.
This patch of water looks familiar.
Not only am I brute strengthening my way through this, I also know there's a pretty girl on board who I'm desperate to impress. I sort of feel like I already need to compete with G-Man over there, with his sharp moustache.
And his machismo.
His finely tailored suit.
You say it's pitch black, but there's a small little red beacon in the centre of our boat that gets brighter every few seconds as you're puffing, as you roll.
That's right.
yes.
2 packs of cigarettes a day are perfect for the
Cardiovascular health.
Okay, so roll me a D100 check on that and let me know.
On the strength, I'm looking to roll under 65, and I've rolled a 6.
Okay, so that's an extreme success.
That's an extreme success.
So you grab the oars and you like launch them into position, and you immediately just yank back on the oars with such force that Dorothea tumbles over the back of the rowboat.
I was hoping you said tumbles into.
As she's fallen, you hear the clang of her head hitting the hull of the boat. And by the time any of you have turned around to realise this, the boat is already 3 boat lengths away. And
I look
looking
directly
back,
at G-Man and go, this was an accident, right?
Is it supposed to be like 8 characters still, and we're being terrible at this?
We're just bad at this. So she fell off the boat.
Gordon as the GM is like, well, you didn't fasten her seatbelt on the lifeboat.
That's true. Nobody discussed safety procedures with me. So you've heard this almighty bang, and you've turned around and you've seen, just as the moment her skull impacted the exposed hull of the boat.
And she's
The
out of the
SS
boat into the water
She's
now?
currently floating face down about 3 or 4 boat lengths behind you.
I'd like to try something. Using my nautical experience and growing up with my father, we usually have other people that will do the rowing and everything for us, and we just strike poses as we travelled the Amazon Canal or something like that. But what I do is I feel into the side of the lifeboat for one of those great big life preserver rings that you would toss out to someone.
Yep.
And what I'd like to do is throw it to her.
Sure.
But have it just
Just land perfectly. All right.
Land on the back of her
I
head.
think, what skill do we think we're going to call this? Is this, I think let's just do it a throw roll.
amazing. I rolled you a 23.
And your success is?
A 20.
So, now is a good time to introduce luck if you'd wish to spend it. Each player has a pool of luck points. If you wish to spend luck points, you spend them 1 for 1. So 1 point reduces the value of your roll by 1. So if you spent just 3 of your points, you could make that successful throw.
I have so much luck, but this was purely a gag to hit a lifeless corpse with a life preserver.
She might not be dead.
I see zero benefit in actually having this pay off.
All right.
What do you guys think?
Yeah,
we
well,
could do it for a
well,
laugh.
the problem is, isn't she unconscious? So even
Yeah.
if you get her,
Yeah,
it's,
that's it. It's just going to land on her
zero
back.
help to anyone.
Correct. Which is why I thought I'd do it.
But at least we no longer have a life preserver.
And our boat's a little bit lighter.
I just envisioned it hitting her on an angle on the head again.
So you throw it in this big discus arc, and you see her just splash to regain her sort of footing in the water, just to regain her position, and she looks across at you at the very moment the life preserver impacts her, and she just sinks under the waves.
Can I just say, this 1920s horror game has quickly turned into a Three Stooges skit so quickly.
This is the problem when you have 3 idiots playing the
Yeah.
game, is it
What were you
rapidly
thinking?
descends.
It's lucky it didn't like hook around her and she starts to sink, because then she'd be an anchor for us and be harder to row.
Or
Terrible life preserver.
it goes on her feet, and her feet are up, and it's holding her. Oh god, we've killed her.
I will not be spending luck points on her. I'm afraid.
Yeah,
Unless you'd like me to. Dorothy.
No,
I think it's too late for Dorothy. She's already been impacted.
Done.
Oh, okay. I was going to be in the water.
You
after.
can't be heroic.
You're
No.
welcome to. You're
I'm
welcome
being.
to.
I'm
I'm
you
not
know
coming
what?
back.
You
you.
go over the side, I continue to row, no questions asked.
You know, heroes aren't made; they're born. Jason Bourne. No, I'm going to. I don't know where that was going.
I'm
I'm
Universal Pictures.
I'm in the water.
So you're jumping in the water?
Yeah.
Okay. So roll me a swim roll,
Yep.
and I want you to do it at penalty, which means you're going to roll an extra dice and pick the worst one.
I'm so glad you
The
got out of the
seas are
boat.
terrible. You've just launched yourself overboard of a tiny rowboat into dark night of unfamiliar waters.
49.
And your swim is?
20.
Okay. Would you like to
Perhaps you should have
just
considered that.
roll it again for me, and let's see if you go even worse. I'll see if I can drown you here.
3.
Okay, but unfortunately, because you're at disadvantage, you take the worst one. So your swim roll fails, and you find that the weight of everything in your coat, your trench coat, your business shoes, your very dapper outfit, starts dragging you down under the waves. And you're becoming increasingly submerged as the waves are crashing on your head, and you're making no headway towards Dorothea at all. The current's actually carrying you towards the island, conveniently for you. As you get dragged underwater, you're seeing flashes of the sky being illuminated and the depth. Roll me a spot hidden roll.
59. And my spot hidden is 65.
So just for a second, while you're fully submerged in the water and while your eyes are clouded from the salt and everything, just for a second you swear you see a man-shaped object sitting deep under the rocks with 2 pale yellow eyes looking up at you. So, because you've had this glimpse of something unknowable, I'll get you to do a sanity check for me, Fitz, which is, you'll see the current sanity score on your sheet there.
The circled one, yep.
Yep, you're going to roll under that for me.
59. So my sanity is 65, so I make it.
You catch this glimpse, but your mind convinces itself this must have just been a flicker of imagination or just a reflection of some of the stars off the wave tops or something. And you come back to the surface spluttering just in time to see the rowboat disappearing off towards Beacon Island.
We made no attempt to come for you.
I appreciate all of this after rescuing all of you.
Did
by
you
the
did
way.
you even notice he was gone, or is he
I called out to him and said, "G man, you're certainly not a C man."
Oh, nice. That was
Well done.
good. That was really bit of nautical humour there for you. I'm actually so impressed by that.
You fired me up a cigarette.
Okay, I want you to have this. I take it out of my mouth and give it to you. The life preserver, are we not dragging, that's presumably on a rope, are we not dragging that behind us? Like as I'm rowing, isn't that not being,
Sounds feasible to me.
that's being pulled past? And lo and behold, it's going just past where you've...
Is it?
Yes.
Fitz, roll me a luck roll, please.
Oh dear lord.
31, and my luck is 60.
Okay.
So I make my luck roll.
Conveniently, the life preserver is going directly past you. So you manage to hook an arm over the top and get slowly towed towards the shore, keeping your head above water. After a minute or two of rowing, Wegs, you hear the distinctive shush sound of the boat running aground
seabed, yeah.
of the seabed.
Yes.
And you haul yourself over the edge of the boat, and spluttering and gasping, Nautical John and Reggie both claw themselves up the beach and lie flat on their back, coughing and spluttering, and they're joined about a minute and a half later by
Why are
by
they coughing and
Carter.
spluttering? They sat there.
Yeah, well, they just
I
fell
was
out the
getting
boat.
a wind chill from sitting in the back of the boat.
I've smoked 11 cigarettes on my
The
journey.
best bit is my piloting of a boat is I've got a really good score for it, but I didn't help at all. I just kept saying things like, continue to row.
You're doing great.
Yeah,
Little
keep
to the
the
left.
pressure even. Yeah, brilliant. I love that. You're fantastic. So Carter, you're absolutely completely waterlogged. These guys are only really waterlogged up to the waist. The weather's already getting worse. The wind's picking up. And on this shore of the island, again, all you're hearing, you're a very short distance, thankfully for you, from this pier that sticks out to the north side of the island. You can see where you're lying on a very small beach. You can see that there's sort of some rocky ground leading up into a grassy island itself, and this very short pier, only enough for a very small boat, which is right next to you. So thankfully you've come in on a pretty good spot on the island, and it's pretty safe. And you can just see that the pier connects up to a dirt path that leads off into the body of the island, but because it's so dark, you can't see far now. Now that you're on this beach on your own, what do you want to do? Gather yourself, or do you want to just move on and go somewhere else?
I think we should head up to the lighthouse.
Can we see the boat from where we are? Is it like burning, or is it sinking, or can we hear it or anything like that? The boat
Yeah,
we just left?
the SS.
I love that it caught fire. Just because we got off it. The boat's like, well, I guess I'll just burst into flames.
Well, they might have left the motor running, and
Like the action
it's
film.
RPM. No, it is motor things that happen.
There was a
yeah.
burning cigarette. that
Some
caught
guy
the
left a
motor.
cigarette. Some guy left a
There were
cigarette.
75 lit cigarettes at the end. You look out on the horizon. You can see the boat is like listing heavily, and it's beginning to go under from the back forwards, and you can't see any shapes running on the bridge, but you can still hear the noises of the battering of the waves and some of the metallic noises of the screeching of it being dragged along the rocks. But that's only very faintly coming to you like a distant whistle.
I take a look inside the lifeboat and see if there's any other supplies that may have been stored in there for an emergency.
No, you're completely unsurprised by what you see in there,
Yeah,
which is
that
just
was
2
good.
oars and a few life jackets. Yeah, so it's literally a wooden bottomed rowboat. There's nothing in there.
All right, offer up a quick prayer for the poor souls on board. Make our way to the lighthouse. I think that's going to be our best.
Dorothea is like washed ashore 30 metres away, but we just pretend we haven't seen her.
Poor Dorothea. I
Yeah, I
can still
think-
hear her now.
I think we should be getting off this beach. It'll be exposed to the elements and windy. Let's
Yeah.
follow that dirt track up and perhaps we can find some shelter.
I agree.
Towards the lighthouse?
I could use a warm rum.
Yes.
Coming soon to a picture theatre near you, an all-new horror talking picture film, or as the kids are calling them, talkies. From acclaimed director Hubert von Finkelschubert, it's Attack of the Spooky Half-Fish Man. Watch with existential dread as our hero, famed archaeologist Dr. Humphrey B. Berenstein, discovers a sinister plot brewing in the sleepy town of Arkham, Massachusetts.
Look out, Humphrey! A spooky half-fish man is coming to steal my virginity!
That's Dr. Berenstein to you, you scantily clad woman, and I don't recall asking you to talk.
Coming soon to a picture theatre near you, if you're brave enough.
You make your way up up the tiny little crest. It's only 3 or 4 feet high onto the grassy top there, and off to your left is this pier, and you can just see a bare wooden pier that's only 12 or 15 feet long, and off to the right you see this gravelly sandy path that disappears towards the body of the island, and you can see in front of you now this imposing lighthouse structure standing there with obviously completely dark at the tip and no light coming from it. And the base of the lighthouse is like a big square building, and there's a few little outbuildings you can just make out in the distance, but they're almost past the body of the lighthouse at the moment. And as you look down, there's the grass on the other side of this path is quite high, and you can just faintly hear as the wind turns around above the swishing of the grass. You can hear this like faint mechanical noise going on, like an engine running. So as you start stepping onto this pathway, there's like the sandy pebbled pathway under you is making that crunch noise like you're on sand or snow, and there's this light fog beginning to settle. In spite of the wind, it seems to be hanging quite well, and the cold now that you're soaking wet, is really cutting through. I'll get one of you, whoever wants to roll me a check to see if they can identify what that noise is. So give me either a mechanical or an electrical roll.
I'll give it a crack. A 9. So not only do I make it, I believe I make it extreme.
Absolutely. So you can tell, just from hearing that noise, you can tell that not only is it some kind of petrol-fed electric generator, you can tell that it's a Briggs & Stratton. 16.5 horsepower.
Oh, the 16.5, brilliant.
So that's it's good. You've got great familiarity with it because when you were growing up, this was the first electricity that was introduced in your town to power the church services on Sundays came from this very generator.
So I know that there's something being powered up there from a power generator.
Well, it's generating power. Who knows where that power is going? Sounds like a mystery.
It does. I think I might convince both my compatriots here that we will head directly towards the lighthouse, because that's the most obvious thing that's being powered.
So you start taking some steps south on the island, and you're not far in before you can see this like soft glow coming from an ajar front door on the body of the lighthouse building there. And there's curtains flanking this, those thin, like gauzy mesh curtains, and through them you can see this light from one of them on the left-hand side, but the right is dark. And as you're taking your steps along the pathway, you can just hear this, above the rustle, you can hear this faint sort of almost clicking noise coming from the bushes over to your right-hand side. And suddenly to your left, there's the noise of a branch snapping, and then a frantic rustle through the bushes, like something scurrying away from you.
And I say there's birds, nautical birds that migrate, that nest on this island. It's probably just them being a bit nervous of us. But I've made many trips to this island. That'll be what it is. The hairs on my arms are starting to stand up a little.
So this is all bluff, is it? This is
Yeah.
I think... Oh, sorry. Yeah.
They're quite protective of their eggs.
And you, Fitz, as he's saying this, as you're looking into the bushes, you swear just for a second that you can see a set of pale yellow eyes just blink out and disappear.
I think with the sound of the snapping twig and the bushes and that, my instincts might kick in, and I might have my gun out and about as a quick draw.
Okay.
Jesus, G-Man, where did you get that gun?
Just, I'm a G-Man, man. The
Oh,
G
yeah,
stands
sorry.
for gun.
Oh, yeah.
I see you do that, and I draw my pencil because that's what I have, and I sort of like hold it out like it's going to be a weapon. But when you sort of look over towards me, I put it down by my side because I don't want you to see me holding it
And
like that.
I light up a smoke and I go, the gun, yeah.
Just hold the lighter up towards it.
Is it like a, you better run, you mook?
Yeah. You better run. My friend here, we're going to be friends, right? My friend here's got a gun.
So as you take a few steps towards the door of the lighthouse, it's probably only 20 or 30 feet away from you now. I'll get you all do a spot hidden roll for me, please.
I've barely passed.
I'm going to, I need a 50. I've rolled a 51. I'm going to spend a luck point if I can.
Sure, adjust your luck accordingly. And Fitz, what about you?
I've got a 65. I've rolled a 13, and my extreme is a 13.
Excellent. So in this game, if you match the score, you get the thing. On the gravel and the muddy sides of the track, you can all see these fine animal-shaped footprints. And you two can't make out right away what they are, but you can tell, you can see in great detail from where you're standing that they are clearly not human footprints. And actually one of them is they're on top of these boot prints that are coming and going from the door to the kitchen. And with your experience in crime scene investigation, you can tell that they're old tracks and these new tracks are fresh on top of them, these animal tracks. Now, if anyone's got a natural world or a science skill who wants to do some more examination on those, you're welcome to. Even if you don't have the skill, you're welcome to try.
I'd like to pull out my research journal first because I've made a couple of different trips in this area. I have noticed things in the past, but I've always dismissed them. And I try and focus purely on what my research is. And I flick through my journal in the dark and I'm trying to see if there's anything that could match. If you're happy for that to be under science, I'd give it a roll.
Sure.
Yeah. Wait, Poindexter, what are these tracks?
I've passed with a 12, so that is a hard success.
Excellent. At first, when you look at these, they look almost like a duck-like print, but bigger, like a webbed foot print with a prominent toe claw. But as you compare it to your journal and to your reference book that you've got in front of you, you're confident now that this is an unidentified species. This is nothing. You know, in the tens of birds that are known to the natural world, this is not a single one of them.
Gentlemen, this is so exciting. This isn't in my journal. Do you know what this means? I get to name it.
And playing in the back of your mind on top of your enthusiasm is the fact that these prints are almost as deep as the print of the boot. Man, even a simpleton like you knows that means the thing that made it probably weighs about the same.
The mega duck.
The Howard.
So having seen these prints, you can see them after Howard Phillips.
Howard the Duck.
Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Howard the Duck.
I was
of
going
course.
Howard the
Far
Duck.
simpler.
But Howard Phillips Lovecraft, I like you went deep for that one.
I thought you were going sophisticated.
I would have
I-
accepted pluck a duck as well.
I went very lame. Lame.
Lame duck.
Oh, nice.
So you can see now that these tracks, the way they're oriented, you can see that there is a followable trail leading off into the bushes at the side. And as you're examining this and leaning over, you see on your page of your reference book in front of you a few rain splatters start to land as the weather's beginning to get a little bit worse. And you can see already in front of your eyes the track in front of you is disappearing. And you know that if you want to follow this trail, you're going to have to follow it quick, or it's going to be gone. So it's leading off, instead of the door of the lighthouse is right in front of you, and leading off to the left towards some of the thicket and shrubbery is this track.
I quickly pull the hood of my raincoat over my head and I try and sketch what this footprint looks like into my journal so that I can have it for my future notes.
Is it a yellow, like fisherman's friend style raincoat?
The very same.
Excellent.
You two can stand here and freeze to death. I'm getting into the lighthouse.
Okay.
I think it's fascinating. I think we have to follow it.
So make a decision. If you're going to split up, that's fine. But if you want to stay together,
Yep. Lighthouse, gentlemen.
I'm thinking we need to go inside the lighthouse.
And I'm so happy because I'm terrified. I did not want to follow these tracks at all. And the moment one of you is like, lighthouse, I'm like, oh, well,
if
my
you
research
insist.
is suffering, but okay.
Are we able
and
to
I
make like
lead
a-
the way.
You just
Out of my way, everyone. Elbows.
through.
Just pull your hood and you just go.
Yep.
Maybe I'll do one thing as we enter the lighthouse. I start calling out for Michael.
Michael. Okay. He's right next to you. See, very close.
Because you're loud and clear.
I thought you couldn't hear me with your hood up.
All right, so
And I raise a
Very low hanging jokes, right?
I raise a suspicious eyebrow. I note that. Why are you calling for Michael?
I'm clearly calling out for someone that I think is there called Michael.
you asking, or you focused on?
No,
the
it takes me back. It takes me off guard. Like, why would you call for that name in particular?
You get to the front door of the cottage, which is standing partially ajar, and there's that soft glow spilling from within of clearly electric light. And who's going in first?
Yeah, I'll go in first because I get to the door first. I'm still amped up on the thrill of rowing a rowboat.
So you open the door there and you see a corridor that extends for about 15 or 20 feet before it goes into a narrow doorway with a few steps leading up into what looks like the circular base of the lighthouse proper. And just a few steps inside the door on your left, there's an open, or a jar, not open, but slightly ajar door that's leading into a dark, or a lit room, but you can't see what's inside it, sorry. And slightly further down the hallway on the right, there's another door leading into a darkened room. Tell me about where you want to go.
The light room presumably has somebody in it. The dark room presumably doesn't. Head to the light room.
I'm whispering and sort of stammering to you, and I'm like, they could be lonely here. Just call out to them again.
And I'm happy to be calling out Michael as we're sort of looking in the rooms.
Okay.
I'm calling out for the occupant, clearly.
As you call out Michael this time, you hear a loud clang from the kitchen area and the noise of a pot slowly spinning in circles until it slows down and comes to rest and does the rattling thing as it comes
And I
to
turn
a
to
stop.
both of you and I go, there's nautical birds that live on this island and they're quite protective of their eggs.
So are you still trying this light room, or is that drawing your attention?
Well, I'll walk towards the pot because it sounds like there's someone down there.
Well, yeah.
And you can continue.
You've taken the
Yeah.
you've taken the lead.
So you walk past that first doorway on your left, and just as you get to the kitchen door, there's another couple of doorways beyond, but you slowly swing open the kitchen door, and there's this almighty screech from the hinges as it slowly goes open. And as the door opens, you can see inside. In the middle of the floor, you can see this pot that's come to rest there. And you can see there's a sink on the far side of the room. There's a window that goes back out the way you came towards the front of the lighthouse. And there's a few dirty plates and a sauce pot on the sink. There's a couple of chairs, 3 chairs in fact, and 3 doors, one of which leads outside. One goes the hallway you just came through, and one goes to a separate room, which you can't see at the moment. You see one of the chairs is actually broken on the floor, like it's been broken into pieces. There's a tiny little pool of blood next to it, probably not much bigger than a piece of paper. You're having a look around the crime scene there, Carter. What are you doing? Any kind of examination?
Well,
Any
yeah,
kind of G-man tricks I need to know
Yeah,
about?
I'm now, having seen the blood, I'm a bit concerned now. I've been calling out for Michael. See blood on the floor. So I'm pretty much giving the room a good once over. If the pot has just landed there quickly. I'm calling out Michael, it's Carter.
Okay.
I know I'm investigating the
Give
room.
me an intelligence roll for the examination.
30, 65. So have I done a hard pass?
You can tell that this chair has been used as a weapon. Like, it looks like it's been broken on someone or something. And you can see the blood as you see it, as you move past it, it doesn't quite look right. It's not congealing right, or it's not got quite the right viscosity. There's something wrong about the blood, but you can't quite make out what that is. Someone with some kind of medical skill might be able to do some further examination, but
I think I obviously knowing that and seeing that, I vocalise this to these two. So there's been a fight in here. Someone's hit someone with a chair. Hey, Nerdlinger, what's that?
So does anyone else want to examine the blood or anything? Or
I'm asking him to, knowing he's a...
Yeah, and I don't want to admit that I'm not great at it, so I take a look, but understanding that I have more of a biology-style background with nature rather than the human body, but I still have a look.
I was going to say, while you're doing that, I'm just preloading the next move. I'm starting to just look around the kitchen in general, open drawers, cupboards, just poke around, that sort of thing.
I love the idea that someone got hit over the back with a chair, like WWE style.
It's with a folding chair. So give me is it a medicine roll or a first aid roll
a
for
ladder.
you?
So my medicine is terrible. I can roll on that if you like. I was leaning towards a science, botany, zoology, somewhere in there.
I'll allow it.
I rolled you a 48. If you'll allow zoology, then we're good. If you won't, if it's science, my science is a 40.
I'd probably like you to spend some luck on that. I think science.
I'll spend 8 of my luck. So I was on 75.
Sure, that's a lot of luck. Your success, you can tell that this blood is inhuman in origin. It doesn't look like any blood you've seen before. It's got a different shade. It congeals differently. You remember back to veterinary school, I presume, is where you went, and this to you reads like animal blood, but you're not sure what kind.
It seems off, guys. It's not. I'd expect this to be different from a person, but it's not matching up. It seems more animal in nature. But that doesn't make sense.
As this is happening, Wegs is look through the drawers there, and there's the usual kitchen accoutrement, but the most important thing he finds is a good sharp kitchen knife in one of the drawers.
Yep, I'm pocketing that just in case this revelation of something inhuman bleeding all over the place has given me what we call in the 1920s the heebie-jeebies.
You see a kettle on the stove, and as you walk past it, as you're doing your crime scene exam there, Carter, you can feel that there's still warmth coming off the kettle. This isn't an old scene. You know that. So your options are you can make your way back to the hallway, or you can stay in here for the rest of your lives.
I'm doing the old, whatever happened here, boys? We just missed it. I think we need to do a bit of a search of the house. I mean, is one of these doors go outside?
So there's one door that goes back to the hallway, a door that goes outside, and there's a connecting door back to the study. So
And they're both closed?
yeah, so which way do you want to push on?
When you come home from a hard day at the office, all you want is to be greeted by the little woman with a stiff drink.
Honey, I'm home.
But with prohibition now in place to help beat the commies, you need a different drink. A modern drink. A man's drink. Introducing Lovecraftian Ink Squid. The dark, smooth liquid really sets your insides to relax. Better than alcohol, Ink Squid is some parts secret ingredients, some parts laudanum, and whole parts delicious. Lovecraftian Ink Squid makes those evening at homes with your best gal and the children bearable.
Can I have some ink squid, Papa?
Whoa there, Timmy. Not until you're at least 12. It's the drink that will have you splifflicated without upsetting the prohibition officers. Lovecraftian Ink Squid. It's great.
So you're faced with this, there's a door you came in that goes back to the hallway, door that connects to the study, and a door that's, and then you can see through the front window back to the path you came in on. Where do you want to go next?
Well, I think we should at least look in the study.
Did we check if the room? Remember
No,
we
we
came in
didn't, we didn't.
where there was a room with the light on?
Yeah,
I think we should check.
You're basically checking down one side of the hallway at the moment.
Yeah,
and
okay,
the
let's
other
just
side of
do
the hallway.
that.
So let's just continue
Be
that.
systematic. And
I mean, whatever was in here was in here. A minute ago, we heard it. So, open the study door and look for a light.
Okay. So you push open the door to the study, and as soon as it opens, you can see there's 3 armchairs almost in the middle of the room here. There's a door that you're coming through, and there's another door that leads back to the hallway. There's a lovely old roll-top desk. There's some bookshelves, and there's little wooden chairs next to them, like this little separate study workstations. The one by the writing desk has been knocked over and is lying flat on the floor. And you can see around the room, you can see all sorts of different books, and you can see a painting, a sinister-looking painting that looks like, to you, it looks like a recently finished watercolour. And there's a neat stack of paintings there, but this one's on top, like it's the most recent one to have been done. And it shows a dark shadow with wide yellow eyes looking in through a window. And looking at that, you can recognise that that's the very window of this study. So I'll get everyone to make a sanity roll for me.
God. I feel like if this were the movie, lightning would crash.
And lightning crashes at that very moment.
let's see. I've rolled a 5.
I've rolled a 40. I'm good.
Okay, so you're going to lose 1 sanity point for me, please. You all passed? All
Yes,
lose
I
one.
passed it.
So all lose 1, please. Now, looking at this painting, if anyone's got any kind of art skills, might be able to know something about it, or anyone with some science skills, you might be able to get something about the creature that's depicted therein.
I have an appraisal skill of 55.
It's more about how much value something has. Anything
Yeah,
in
it's-
art, craft?
I'll give you a science roll.
Sure.
I failed. Horribly.
Okay, zoology was that, or?
Zoology would still be a significant fail. I'd
Right.
need to spend a whole bunch of luck.
So you're looking at it and you're saying, you're not going to roll any luck, or you're not going to use any luck?
This is for the painting? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will. I'll spend 18 luck to get there.
worth it.
Okay, 18 luck. When you look at this painting, I hope you think this is worth it. You realise that those eyes are attached to a head that's got a sort of bulbous, wrong shape, like the head of a fish or a frog with the eyes mounted on the side rather than on the front. And You can tell this is of some unknown beast. It's obviously big if it can look in the window. You feel a bit of a shiver go through your soul, but you don't know what this beast could possibly be. It's pretty horrifying. Look horrified.
I'm scared.
There's many other mysteries in here, but for the moment, your attention's fixed on this painting. As the entire world seems to focus down, you've got nowhere else to look except in this painting and those horrible, horrific yellow eyes staring back at you. And we'll discover more about them next time. Because we're going to break that.
You're telling my character's scared. I'm scared. Enough of my
scared.
character.
I want to go home.
I need to go step out into the sunlight.
I know.
But there could be monsters out there, so I won't.
I'm not going anywhere.
Sunlight's 12 hours away, pal. So thanks everyone for joining us. We really appreciate you listening. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, or if you haven't, leave us a review. But either way, make it a positive review, please. That would be nice. In-universe reviews are our favourite, and what we're going to do is start picking our favourites and reading some of them out. Most importantly, being part of the Discord is really good for us. We have a Discord going which lets people shape and pick what RPGs we're going to do next and give us some suggestions. There's also a Patreon, the Flashing Badger Patreon, where podcast and painting channel, there's perks and exclusives. My favourite one is the behind the scenes of the ad recordings that we do, where you see how many times we mess it up and how terrible it is. And it's very funny. It always makes me laugh. Coming up next, we will have the next episode. So be sure to join us to find out the mystery of the lighthouse. I have been Gordon.
It's Wegs.
It's Fitz saying goodbye.
And it's Mike.
Thanks very much for being here. We'll catch you next time.
Flashing Badger.